Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here again on the Trinity Stamps YouTube channel. Today I get to share with you this really cool stencil set. I'm kind of going for like a pop art look on today's card. This is the Layered Popsicle Stencil Set. There is the 6x6 stencil and 4 masks you can use with it, which is what I will be using to create the delicious juicy popsicle on my A7 size card today. So we're going to see this in action, but also I wanted to show you a die set that can go with this stencil set. It's the Popsicle Die Set. It's very cool. I'm actually going to use the sentiment from that die set on my card today, but here you can see how you can use these pieces together if you want, but they also work completely independently of each other if you want to. So let's do some stenciling. I have a piece of cardstock that measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, so it will be a little bit smaller than my card base. I'm taping around this popsicle, and I'm going to use a couple different colors to create my popsicle. So I have some Coral Berry ink for the top and some Aqualicious ink for the bottom. I'm just going to bring this up to the middle without having them overlap. So there's just like the faintest little white section there in the middle. Next, I'm going to move on and do the popsicle stick. There's 2 layers for this, which I think is fabulous. So I'm using hazelnut ink for the first layer. That's a lighter color than I'll do for the detail, but you can add this detail over the top to give it a wood grain look, which is so very clever. This is the milk chocolate ink, so it's a shade darker and really gonna just give that stick some life, which I think is so clever, so awesome. I love all things wood grain, so it's easy to please me when it comes to that. Okay, there is another layer for the popsicle as well. So I'm bringing in a darker ink color. This is ruby red, and I'm going to bring this down and leave just that tiny bit of white space in between. Teal Cave is my darkest color for my turquoise section of the popsicle, and I cannot wait to show you what this looks like when you take off the stencil. It is so very cool. I am just in love with this stencil set. All the like delicious cold sweet treat things that Trinity has out in this release make me so happy. Okay, I just laid some paper around this because the stencil is a little smaller than the paper I chose to put my popsicle on. I have the stencil in place and the paper around it, and now I'm putting some splatter on my popsicle that's very shimmery, and it's going to, like, you know, catch the light when it dries and look very cool. I love splatter, so of course I'm going to splatter my popsicle. Once that was dry, I brought out the mask for the popsicle. I put a little temporary adhesive on that, and I just lined it up very carefully with the popsicle itself, and then also the stick. I did the same exact thing. Now I can add color around it, and to give it that pop art feel, I am going with maple yellow, a really bright sunshiny yellow, and because my stencil's there, I don't have to worry about getting too close to the popsicle. I did want just a tiny bit of a white glow around it. And next I'm going to do some splatter with the yellow. So I have Honey Drizzle. This is just a shade darker than the maple color I used, and we'll give a little splatter to that background part as well. Now some of this did seep under because it was very liquidy onto my popsicle. I decided I was okay with that. No use crying over melted popsicles, right? Right. Okay, so again, here is that popsicle die set. I'm going to use that You're the Coolest from that die set for my sentiment. So I die cut from some really bright pink cardstock, so it would kind of match my popsicle. Coolest I did from some yellow, and I'm mounting that on the shadow layer in white. So you have this really fun sentiment with different looks, but it all just kind of works together. So I'm gluing that right to my 1-layer card front. This is the only other layer is the sentiment, but you can totally stamp on there, and this makes a really cool 1-layer card. I did save the fallout pieces for the O and the R, but really you can read what it says without them. So if you're like, oh my word, I cannot handle these teeny tiny pieces, like, don't worry about it. But if you want to save them and paper piece them back in, you can totally do that. Just like do you and what makes you happy, okay? There we go. You're the coolest. I think it's really cool with the yellow showing through on that pink thing. Okay, I'm bringing in some glaze to melt my popsicle on purpose. I think it looks really cool with this kind of melted look on it. Now, right about here, my glaze just clogged up. I had to do a little surgery on it. I'm sure you've had to do this before. If you've used glaze or glue, you know, you got to get out the pin. So then I decided I'm bringing this all the way down and I'm going to put some drips on there, and I was loving that look. So very fun. So I'll let that dry and work on a little bow for my popsicle stick. It just needed a little something. And I thought the black and white really went with kind of that pop art feel. And don't worry about how low my twine is. I have another roll of black and white. So if you're worried about that, I'll be all right. Thank you. So I just stuck that down with a glue dot, pressed it in place, and now I'm adding this to my 5x7 card base. So the cardstock is going to be 10 inches by 7 inches, scored at 5 inches. And then it is a complete card. And I love how it turned out. That stencil is so much fun to layer up. I love layering stencils, and this popsicle makes me so happy. And just think of all the flavors that you could make, like an orange dreamsicle. That would be fun. Yeah, I wanted you to see a close-up look right here of those drips. So cool. So that is my card for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video because I love sharing my creations with you. If you want more inspiration from Trinity Stamps, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook. I will be back next Saturday with a new video right here on Trinity Stamps. So I will see you then. Happy stamping. Bye.